Well, welcome in once again to another what promises to be a very, very special edition of the 19th Hole podcast for golfers. I'm your host, Dennis Silvers, and of course, coming to you live from the beautiful Rigel Studios, right in the heart of the entertainment capital of the world, and you know that to be Las Vegas, Nevada. We've got a lot to talk about today. We've got a very, very special guest in studio for you all today. That just an amazing young woman. And when you hear about the stuff she has accomplished at her age, you're also going to agree that she's just absolutely terrific, absolutely amazing. A lot going on right now in Las Vegas. Last week, as you recall, we had the Shriners Hospitals for Children open at TPC Summerlin. Congratulations to a new winner. Golf course was always fantastic. And today, as a matter of fact, starts the CJ Cup here in Las Vegas, and that has been moved from to a new golf course called the Summit, which is about a year and a half old. Wonderful golf course, plays about 7,400 yards. Beautiful, beautiful views. It's closer to where I live. It's on the west side of town. And you got a lot of really top players there. You got Dustin Johnson, you got Rory McIlroy, you got Brooks there, you've got Jordan Spieth there. It's really going to be quite an event. And it ends up on Sunday, and galleries are allowed. So if you get a chance, get yourself a ticket, get bussed up there, and you're going to see some really good golf, again, along with a really good golf course at the Summit. But right now, let me tell you a little bit about our special guest, again, in studio. And the woman is so great, she came all the way in from the state of Washington, where she lives, because she wanted to be on the show, and it's just absolutely awesome. Kanani Lodge started playing golf at the very tender age of 10 years old and competing in local tournaments put on by the South Carolina Junior Golf Association. She further competed on a varsity level, get this, in softball and women's and men's golf. Going to have to ask her about that in high school. While attending Savannah State University, Kanani competed in track and field, in discus, in the hammer throw, in shot put, and one of my personal favorites, the javelin. So we're going to talk to her about that as well. She began her career in long drive in 2019, made her professional debut with Team USA, competing in Mexico against Team Canada. And after competing in Mexico with hitting her first drive, get this, 358 yards. No, it did not hit a cart path. Thank you very much. She signed with Callaway Golf, that we'll talk about. Won her first event in November of 2020 in the Extreme Long Drive Championship. In March 2021, her second win came in Mesquite for the Professional Long Drive Association. Hit it only 345 this time. Won again in April of 2021, September of 2021, October 1st, just very recently, another win in Mesquite, right up the road here, for the PLDA World Championship. And it's an absolute pleasure to have her in studio with us right now. So let me introduce the world to Kanani Lodge. Welcome.
Thank you, Dennis, for that awesome introduction.
Is it aloha appropriate? Is that
good?
Good?
Yeah, that'll work.
Is that good? All right, so you're obviously originally from Hawaii. Whereabouts?
My dad grew up in Hilo and then resided in Honolulu, and that's where I would visit him a lot. So.
Yeah, it's great. It's beautiful there.
Oh, yeah.
Got some good golf there. Mm-hmm. Got some really good golf there. Well, we're happy that we're very happy that you're here. Let me start off and ask you this, Kanani. What would you say is the real allure, is the real attraction of competitive long drive? Is it the competition? Is it the mental aspect you have to have? Is it the swing technique you have to employ? What is it?
I think it's a bit of all of that, but I would say the biggest drive for me and what I notice from a lot of the fans is the energy. It's a lot different than traditional golf because you get to cheer the whole time. You get to be loud. They play loud music. They want the energy of the athletes to match that of the audience.
Yeah.
And that is super unique. It matches and brings the sport up, I think, in just adrenaline rush and the excitement level, which I really love.
And I think that's why the fans love it. They don't have to
Yeah.
worry about a tour event where if somebody picks up their zipper in the ninth row, you're going to get a tour guy go, shh. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
So they
encourage
really
the
like the
cheering.
jazz going on, don't they?
Yeah, and it pumps up the players. They feed off of the adrenaline and the charisma of the audience, and so that's awesome.
Do you get to choose your own music, by the way?
Not right now, especially since we're streaming all of our events. There's a lot of copyright laws and everything we have to, finagle around. But in the past, I think the Golf Channel did allow them to kind of pick their walkout song, like in baseball, which was cool.
And they're doing that now in some limited tournaments over in Europe, I noticed, which I think is very cool.
Yeah, it personalizes the sport and really lets the players get into their own zone and kind of add their special touch to it.
Yeah, exactly. Who or how is it determined who goes first, so to speak? You're competing against a number of other women. All right, you go. How is that handled?
So everybody is put into, I guess you could say, a drawing. Everyone who signs up, and then it's randomized in the group settings. And that's where the first 2 or 3 groups will go. And from there, it goes off of performance. So you get like the seeding rounds where you find out who's performing against who, and then you get grouped with that down later in the tournament.
Got it.
So for the men, that's a 4-day process before you get to the finals.
Correct.
Yeah, because they've got, over 50 competitors.
Right.
It's a ton of work. So.
A ton of work, yeah. It's a lot of work. People who follow long drive competition like me love watching it. What can you do as a competitor, as a champion now? And let me just, Kanani was very kind to bring this up. Let me just lift this belt a little bit to show you. This is absolutely awesome. And I got to tell you, folks, it's heavier than it looks, okay? It's worthy of a champion, but it's absolutely beautiful, and well done on that. But what can you do as a title holder to grow long drive and make it more popular?
Well, my personal goal, now that I have a platform and I have a history in the sport, is I wanted to go to colleges and universities and high schools and really promote the sport to other athletes, strong, well-rounded athletes who could really have success in the sport, but just might not know it exists like I did.
Right.
Or they think that it's so tied to golf that they need a golf background, and that's not necessarily true. I definitely contribute a lot of my success to my track and field history more than my golf history.
Yeah.
So I think, just getting the knowledge out there so that people know what it is and know how to enter into those tournaments, I think will make a huge difference.
Yeah, it's obvious that most people, and I'm going to get to this a little bit later, the average weekend recreational player doesn't have the athletic background that you have to transform into something like that. You were way ahead of the game. I think you got to admit, right? With that,
I mean, I
haven't dated any women that do shot put or hammer throw or something like that. You know what I mean? That'd be dangerous.
There's a lot of athletes, though. I mean, in tennis and softball and rugby, they are very strong athletes and have a lot of the same muscular components that would be excellent for golf and long drive. So.
Yeah. It helps.
It does help
to have a athletic background, and of course, be fit, obviously. How much of long drive, Kanani, is technique versus equipment, and how do you know which of the two over time needs to be tweaked? Now, you happen to be with Callaway.
I am with Callaway.
Great brand, because I was a Callaway player for a long, long time. Great equipment. But how do you know if it's my technique that I need working on? Perhaps I need a little change in my driver face or whatever. How do you figure that out?
Well, I think you might get a few different answers from different players, but from my perspective, you can always improve technique, but the ceiling will be set by the equipment. The equipment and the mechanics and the technology that we have is going to cap your capability. So if you take a wooden, persimmon driver, there's only so much that can handle.
True.
And it doesn't matter if your technique is flawless at that point. The technology just cannot keep up with it.
Right.
So I think if you have a decent or solid swing that you feel comfortable in, and then you improve the technology, you'll see gains in your yardage or your speed or whatever. And I think, us long drivers being at the pinnacle and the climax of speed and ball rotation in the golf realm, we really push those boundaries, especially the men. They are pushing the boundaries of what people thought was capable by human beings as far as swing speed. Yeah.
Just incredible.
And the technology has to be improved almost to catch up to the human capability.
Yeah.
So I think there's a balance, but I mean, you can see now a 6-year-old driver is not going to perform as well.
No, that's well said. That's a good point. And like you say, the technology is extremely, extremely important. Tour players work all the time with their equipment people, as far as weight, as far as whatever, COR, whatever. How closely do you work with the folks at Callaway to get something in your hands that you go, yeah, I like this?
Well, my team, so with One Stop Power Shop, run by Bobby Peterson,
right.
The A team that I'm on, we do work really closely with the prototypes and new drivers that come out with Callaway specifically. But for me, I am more of a feel player. So if I feel confident hitting a certain driver, I'm going to perform better. It doesn't matter if the numbers say that I will do better with a different equipment. If I feel really good with it, I don't want to mess with the specs. I want to just, until it doesn't work for me anymore. Whereas other players, they are going to focus a lot on the numbers. They're going to focus a lot on how this face is performing with the ball. And it may hurt me in some circumstances, but I think if I feel confident in the club that I have in my hand and I feel good with it, I'm going to perform better. Well,
I think that's true for the average recreational player too. If they like the way something looks, they like something the way it feels, it's going to give them that, that confidence, and they're probably going to hit the thing pretty good. You see long drivers coming out, and I noticed in your bag, you've got a plethora of clubs there of drivers. Why so many drivers? Are you afraid you're going to break one? Are there different shafts? Are there different lofts? Why do you come out with so many clubs?
Breaking is definitely an aspect you have to take into consideration, because once you step on the stage, you can't get off and grab another club. So if you were to break your club mid-set and you only have one, you're done. And so the reason I and several other athletes bring several clubs up is a lot of times they're set at different angles. So you can change the loft, you can change, maybe you have a whole different shaft, depending on the conditions. So in Mesquite, we experience a lot of wind change.
Right.
And a lot of people, you don't want to spend the time changing your loft down to counter the wind. And so you bring different clubs set at different degrees or different shafts, depending on what you're working on.
Okay.
And that allows you just a quicker, more adaptability on stage in the moment, because you've only got 2 minutes and 30 seconds for that set.
So you can actually go back, your driver's intact, but you can actually go back to your bag and pull another driver?
Not when you're on stage.
Not when you're on stage.
And once you enter the tournament, you have to register all of the clubs that you're going to be using.
Okay.
So I register all of them, just in the event that I decide, from one set to another, I want to change what I bring up to the stage.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. But once you go up to the stage and you've got
done.
2 minutes, 30 seconds.
You've got it.
That's what you're dealing
using.
with.
Wow. And how many drivers do you usually go up with?
I usually just go up with 2, but on the range, I'll practice with 3 or 4 to figure out, depending on the conditions, depending on how I'm feeling with my body, what's going to work best for that situation.
Right. Okay. Well, that makes sense. All right. I'll tell you what, we're going to step away, take a short break, and we're going to come back, have a lot more with Kanani Lodge, and hopefully she'll pass on some tips of how you and me can hit it a little further down the fairway. So stay with us. We're back at you right after this.
When I first learned about Encore, I was a little taken back because I didn't know much about the ball. I went out and played a couple rounds with it, and I was just extremely surprised how this ball made up for what I was looking for in a golf ball 20 years ago. It's a very straight ball. It launches a little higher than other balls that I've used, which is ideal for the tour because we're playing firm and fast greens. A lot of the balls do fly very similar, but this ball reacts so much differently around the greens and inside 100 yards than any other ball I've ever played. The combination of this ball is the best ball that I've ever played.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Having a great conversation with Kanani Lodge, who is the current women's long drive champion for the PLDA organization. We'll talk about that in a little bit more. Kanani, when you know you're going to compete in an event and you're getting ready for it, what's your routine? What do you do to prepare for that event?
So about a month out is when my preparation starts, as far as any type of tweaks I need to make with workout routines or training techniques. At that point, you're not going to build any more strength, but there might be technique changes or swing changes we're doing. And so I'll focus more on that, focus on, okay, what am I going to be bringing to the competition and what do I need to be adapting to? And then a week out, I start a swing process, building up on sets of balls that I hit per day so that I can maximize my top speed on competition day. And I can break that down further if you'd like, but...
No. Not yet.
Okay.
So I'm going to get into that right after this.
Okay. So then, and then I have a mental routine that I do as far as stretching and any kind of like mental processes about talking to myself or what am I focusing on, for whatever kind of competition I'm going to be facing.
So you're telling me while you are prepping to train, you're talking to yourself. Mm-hmm. Okay. That's another show, folks.
Yep.
That will be another show. Speaking about speed, I'm reading here in March, you say you unofficially, quote unquote, sets the ball speed and swing speed record for any woman on the professional golf and long drive tour. Get this, ball speed of 194, folks, and a swing speed of 135. Why is that unofficial?
Well, the pandemic had a lot to do with that. We would have liked to reach out to Guinness, reach out to some of the official, quote unquote, organizations to mark that down and have me have the secure record. But obviously with the pandemic and everything shutting down, it was more difficult. And, there are other players out there in the world, just like me, who I'm sure can reach those speeds and we just don't know about them. So I feel more comfortable saying the unofficial, until it's tested, either on a grand stage or with an organization like Guinness to officiate it.
Is there an official record right now that's in the book, so to speak, with a woman in long drive?
I think Phyllis Meddy holds it. I'm not 100% sure, but based off of the Golf Channel's tournaments and what she has performed in tournament, I think hers was 188 as far as ball speed.
Okay.
Yep. And in the 120s for club speed.
Okay. So still pretty damn good.
It is pretty good. Yeah.
Still pretty good. You mentioned him briefly. I've talked to him. Sounds like a great guy. Bobby Peterson is your coach. How did the two of you get connected?
So I was in Hawaii, and I was just hitting golf balls at a range.
Puka shells.
Yep.
Yeah, making necklaces. Yeah, go ahead.
So just I was hitting on a range and ended up going into, I think, like not Greg Rogers, but some golf shop to test my speeds because I had considered long drive, but I didn't think I was good enough. I didn't think I was fast enough for the women that I saw on TV. So I went there, and several guys started watching me hit, and a few of them happened to be scouts, I guess, that were in connection with Bobby Peterson, and they told him about me. And a few days later, I got a phone call, and he invited me up to North Carolina. And so I flew out there from Hawaii, and that's kind of where my long drive career started. Yeah.
Did you have to go, obviously you've got to swing a club for him, but did he talk to you about the mental aspect of the game, what it takes, the kind of devotion that you're going to have to give to it and that type of thing?
He did. So I had a tryout, a 2-day tryout, and he said, straight up, as soon as I met him, he's like, all right, you've got 2 days, and either you're going to stay or I'm going to send you home, and we're not going to waste each other's time. And at the end of the 2 days, he talked to my mom, and he said, she's the fastest woman I've ever seen. And
wow.
We talked about contracts and, what I wanted to do as far as being in the sport or pursuing, my other career that I had at the time. And I decided to give long drive a try. So,
and the rest is history.
And the rest is history, yeah.
Did he get you connected with Callaway?
He did.
Okay.
Yep. So he, several of the members on his team are on Callaway staff, and he is a Callaway rep. So he had that connection already.
Okay. And he's got quite a stable.
Oh, yeah.
Of people. Like Bryson DeChambeau, he works with, and a bunch of other long drive guys.
Yeah.
He's got quite a stable.
Oh, he's a fantastic, the best, in my opinion, the best long drive coach there is. Yeah, he lives and breathes the game.
Yeah, and he's a competitor.
Yes, he is. Yeah, he competed at the World Championship. He competes in the senior division now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's awesome. He also co-owns the PLD Association. So he's just got several different hats and juggles it all phenomenally.
Yeah, that's great. There's an old adage, Kanani, in golf that says tension is the biggest killer in a golf swing. I'm sure you've heard that once or twice. How true is that in long drive, and how do you control that when you're in competition?
Well, I think I'm a bit different than a few of the competitors that I know I practice with. A lot of them, tension, you don't want to be super rigid because that affects your range of motion. And that is something that can lead to injury and just bad ball performance. But a lot of the guys do want to amp themselves up in a way, and they do want to kind of get more fierce in their movements and be stronger and faster and harder. And I am actually a very loose, I want to be as loose as possible. I listen to really soft music. I do lots of slow moving stretches. I don't work on that explosive type of anger, energy. Yeah. It just doesn't work for my body. And so I listen to Chopin and Bach when I'm practicing.
Whoa,
yeah,
okay.
Which I know.
Did I tell you, by the way, her husband is, get this, it's absolutely great. Her husband is a submarine officer. How often do you hear that kicked around? That is so cool. Yeah. Because when she was talking to me about, him being underwater, I thought she was talking about their personal finances. You know what I mean? But how cool is that? A Marine officer.
It is awesome. Yeah, I'm very proud of him.
That is fantastic. I can't see though, but even with the guys holding on to a club, and that's a mistake, as you know, amateurs make when they try to hit the crap out of it. How does that help anybody?
Well, you think it does. The harder you hold on to it, the more you're going to be able to control it.
Yeah.
But in reality, it's the opposite. And it's a split second of tension that you have hitting the ball.
Yeah, it's unreal. All right, last question before we take our next break. There are dozens, as you know, of swing philosophies out there that are taught by many, many golf instructors. First, do you have a particular swing philosophy that you work with Bobby on? And secondly, does it matter in long drive about a swing philosophy, or are you just trying to connect with the ball at your greatest speed and swing philosophy be damned, so to speak, if that makes any sense?
It does make sense. I will say it is a balancing act. You definitely need technique because we are a professional sport, and the margin of error becomes so small when you're swinging at top speeds. People, an average female golfer, for example, can hit a drive 1 degree offline and it go 150 yards, 200 yards, and she's still going to be in the fairway. Whereas if I'm 1 degree offline, or any of the other female competitors in long drive, we're going to be in the woods or out of bounds. And so you have to be able to hone in that technique at maximum speed.
Right.
And that is a balancing act that a lot of people can't do, and in the guys' swings specifically, because there's just more of them that people know about, their swings might look erratic, but they are able to repeat it over and over again. And whatever swing works for you, you take the swing man, for example, he swings like a baseball player and swoops his leg around, but it works for him. And he's able to duplicate that swing. And so I would say that's a type of swing philosophy, but not the traditional ones that you're going to look at that get taught by, PGA professionals.
Right. Yeah. So it's all very, very interesting. It's really an individual type thing. Like you say, it's the same thing for a weekend golfer. What works for you, the old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yeah. All right, we're going to step away again, take another short break. We come back. We're going to finish up with Kanani Lodge, and going to ask her about maybe passing along some tips about, us getting it out there a little bit longer. So stay with us. We're going to be back with you. Hey golfers, I've been a golf talk show host for a long time, and I've been playing golf even longer. Being in golf media, I've had the chance to play every ball ever made. I've tried them all. Well, my search is finally over because I found the best ball I have ever played with, and more golfers are finding the same thing. I started playing with the Elixir golf ball made by Encore Golf. Encore Golf has revolutionized both their golf balls, the Elixir or the Avant 55, or the brand new Vero X1, to where the performance of either will simply blow you away. It did me. If you're looking for better performance and durability with your ball, Encore Golf has it. Don't just take my word for it. Check them out at EncoreGolf.com and you'll become convinced, as I am, the first time you tee it up with Encore. It's the best performing ball for the price. Go to EncoreGolf.com and see for yourself. Your scorers will love you for it. That's ONCORE Golf.com.
One of the buzzwords happening in golf is the word lag. You hear it all the time, but what is it, and how do I get it? Lag simply is the loading of the club to help produce tons of power in your golf swing. Up until now, getting lag into your swing has been very hard. Introducing the Lag Shot, a brand new proven training aid being praised by some of the leading PGA Tour instructors across the globe. This practice aid trains your hands, arms and body how to make a powerful, efficient golf swing with an amazing amount of lag. Lag Shot is a 7-iron length club with the same loft and lie with a whippy, flexible blue shaft and a beautiful jet black club head. After you master the Lag Shot, your game will change forever with a stress-free swing, more power and more distance with lower scores every time you play. Go to lagshotgolf.com and you'll see why this truly is becoming the #1 training aid in golf. Visit lagshotgolf.com.
All right, welcome back, everybody. I'm Dennis Silvers, having a great conversation with our special in-studio guest, Kanani Lodge, who just won the women's championship for the PLDA, Professional Long Drivers Association. Kanani, what advice would you have for me, the average recreational player, who's really looking to, everybody wants to hit it longer, but to significantly increase their distance? I think everybody just thinks of it's really hitting it hard and this and that and the other. But to me, and you correct me if I'm wrong, it's all about speed. And I don't think the average guy thinks that way and practices speed. So tell us what we need to do.
That's exactly right. A lot of people think hitting it harder.
So you're giving me credit for getting something right.
You did get it right. Yeah.
Right. So well, you know what they say about a blind squirrel. Okay.
So it is not about hitting it harder. It is faster.
Faster.
And there's a difference there that a lot of people don't recognize. But yeah, you want to swing faster, whatever that might look like. I mean, even gaining 1 mile an hour of speed is a big difference.
Okay.
And I think a lot of it comes from flexibility. So you need to have your body be able to handle the new speeds because it's going to put wear and tear on you. It's not like traditional golf. You are going to have to push yourself a little bit harder. And core strength and being able to tie in your lower and upper body together at a faster speed requires more sync. And if you just work on that and constantly thinking faster, if you're kind of manifesting your body to move quicker, you can still use the same swing, and I think that eventually will build into speed. People just don't think about speed automatically when they're wanting to hit it further.
Correct. What can we do to work with something that might give us some more speed? You hear there's all sorts of training aids out there, heavier clubs or reverse training or whatever. What's your advice for the average man and woman looking at this?
Well, I personally don't like lifting heavy weights. So some people take that route, and it is beneficial to an extent.
Yeah.
But I would just say repetition with something actually just a slightly heavier than your regular driver.
Okay.
They make speed sticks now that it's the same shaft as a driver, and it just has a weight at the end.
Right.
And being able to feel the weight at the end of your club, feeling it rotating around your body and pulling it, like there's a lot of physics in golf. So you want to maximize the amount of speed that you can create at the end of your club head.
Right.
You can use a broom even, and that will kind of replicate what you're needing to feel.
Yeah. I personally work with a fan, which I think is a great training aid. I don't know how you feel about it.
Yeah. Wind resistance is really good on the joints as well because it's not going to be super harsh like swinging, it's like in baseball where people put donuts at the end of their bat.
Correct.
It's the same, but you just have to keep in mind that, you needed to do it gradually. Same as like putting on a weight vest or something.
Yeah.
To build those muscles to be able to handle that weight across your body.
Yeah. I remember a lot of conversations with people about different players, and they always bring up, Sam Snead is just turn and burn, and it sounds simple, but there's a lot to it. What do you envision for long drive overall, and especially women's long drive? And we talked about it a little bit before, but you as a professional, what can you do further the interest, further the curiosity, further the sport?
What I would love to do is just get it out there, get the information out, expose people to it. It's tough when you don't have one of those really popular news channels or like ESPN or, we're on YouTube now, which is awesome because people can go back and watch it. But that's the biggest thing is you just need views. People need to know that it exists. And that's one of the big things that I want to focus on is bringing it to that college and high school level so people know that it's an option. A lot of people don't even know that the sport is an option to compete in. And I think that would be really, really beneficial for getting new members in and then just showing them that you don't have to be a professional golfer.
That's interesting. Do you think that this would be a hit, so to speak, for lack of a better term, in high school?
I think so.
Because there's high school golf, obviously.
There's high school golf.
What are you majoring in? Long drive.
I've
never heard of that before.
They've got Quidditch teams. Fantastical sports per se. I think it's got a huge promise and a lot of potential. If golfers specifically, they think either I have to go on tour or there's no other option. And long drive could be a very viable second choice if they don't have the skill to really, go to Q school.
Great point.
Yeah. And other athletes who do want to keep playing, but might not have what it takes to get as a professional in their specific sport, could transition to long drive, very easily.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of that, we spoke briefly before the show about maybe you cultivating some desire to play professionally, to get on a tour. What's your thinking on that? I think it would be awesome. I think it'd just be awesome.
The door is open. I've never said no completely to it. My passion is definitely long drive, but I think there's potential, and I think if the situation arose and the right opportunities presented themselves, I'd take a shot at it.
Yeah. Well, there's been some men that have tried to do that.
Yeah.
And they've had a reasonable degree of success and stuff, but I think it would just be fantastic. All right, stay with us. We're going to step away. We're going to do a couple of more spots, but before that, of course, we're going to have our weekly game plan of the week, brought to you by Adam Bazalgette from Scratch Golf Academy in Florida, 3-time PGA Section Teacher of the Year. He's absolutely fantastic. He knows a little bit about long drive too. So stay with us. We're going to be back and finish up with Kanani.
Hello there, Adam Bazalgette here, founder of Scratch Golf Academy, with another 19th Hole for Podcast for Golfers tip for game improvement. Let's see if we can help you out. Let's talk about the pivot, specifically the upper body movement in the backswing. Things you don't want, obviously, you don't want your head moving around excessively. You can count that from both angles, moving this way either. Tricks up a lot of people. How do you store energy? How do you move freely but not get too much head movement up there? One of the things I've found, I'm all for the traditional pivot drill, but I think a lot of times when people key on turning their shoulders, they don't create the best energy in their axis. Their head moves around a little bit. So here's an alternate feel, kind of a mental picture, if you will, I think would help you. Think in terms of more of a piston type movement. Picture starting a lawnmower up. Now, I'm not suggesting my right arm movement's what we want, but think in terms of picture this axis just pivoting on that axis. In fact, this is a good drill. Put your hands like this and just use your lats and ribs to move back and forth. I think that works a lot better. Let's look at it from here. I think it's simpler for people, helps them store energy and stay nice and centered. And a lot of people, as I say, struggle with this angle, but it's much easier if you go about it that way. So think of it that way, practice it in front of the mirror. Let's have a go here with a golf ball. Not too bad there. Practice that, it'll add real consistency to your game.
As golfers, we want instant gratification when it comes to a better golf swing and playing better golf. Impossible, you say? Not anymore. Golf Boost Artificial Intelligence, AI, has developed and patented the most advanced swing analysis technology in golf. Simply, the algorithms detect your body position and then analyze your golf swing using their artificial intelligence technology. The AI captures all the relevant data from your swing video and then presents you a personalized lesson. Golf Boost AI is the ultimate swing analysis and virtual instruction system for golfers of all ages and abilities. This sophisticated software takes into consideration your height and build, playing level, and returns the ideal solution for your swing. Bottom line, Golf Boost AI is an incredibly convenient and cost-effective tool for golfers to improve their swing. Go to golfboost.com and check it out. The app is free to download and try. Visit golfboost.com today.
Innovation begins at a single point. Elements, each with their unique character. Fire-forged steel creates unprecedented control. Chemistry delivers a touch so soft, combined to create a level of performance previously unimagined. Like magic, the Elixir, the new tour ball from Encore.
All right, we are back, everybody. We're going to finish up with Kanani Lodge. It's been a great show with her. A lot of really good information. And one last thing, Kanani, you were the first woman in the sport ever to make it to the final 16 in an open division. Tell us about that briefly, and where did that happen? It's phenomenal.
So we had prepared for the 2020 season with the Golf Channel, and then the coronavirus pandemic took over and shut everything down. So we lost all of the planned venues that we had.
Right.
And the players got together, Bobby Peterson, my coach, along with several others, Ryan Riesbeck, and they said, we love our sport so much, we're going to keep it going. And they created the Professional Long Drive Association, PLDA, and Bobby Peterson has the One Stop Power Shop headquarters in Newton Grove, North Carolina.
Right.
And the facility was there. We had the range balls, we had the grid, and he said, you know what, let's have an event here for whoever can and wants to make it. And that is where the men competed for the first time in 2020, for the 2020 season. And I was there, I was training, and the guys actually invited me to compete with them because it was my debut year for being a professional long driver. And so I said, sure, why not? It's, I've got nothing to lose.
Absolutely.
So I went out there and I actually made it to the final 16 rounds.
Wow.
And that was super great, just because the guys are phenomenal. They were super supportive the entire time. And it really allowed me to get some experience under my belt, which I'm super thankful for.
So they didn't stop talking to you or anything like that?
Well, no, not all of them.
I like that. All right, lastly, what are your plans for the upcoming season? I know you mentioned that they're not releasing things quite yet, but Bob, what's Bobby and his crew planning for next season? Obviously, you're looking for more events, you're looking for sponsors or whatever. How do you think that's going to come out?
Oh, I think, especially with how successful the World Championship was, Bryson DeChambeau came out and he competed.
Awesome.
And he had a great time. I think that did a lot for the sport. We had a ton of people who come out in Mesquite, and that was phenomenal to just see how much support we had, both in person and on YouTube. I mean,
Right.
over 600,000 views, which is just
that's
ridiculous.
awesome.
Yeah, and I could be wrong on that number, but it's somewhere close. And so I think that's going to open a lot of doors for next season because people see the potential for our sport. They see how exciting it is and that the people love watching it. And so I think it's going to be really good for the season as far as finding new venues, new sponsors, bringing in new players. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's kind of like, what it reminds me of, Kanani, what I know the reason I like watching it, because number one, all of these people are like super fit like Kanani and then, they got it all together, but it's kind of like a Walter Mitty thing. You go, oh my God, I could just picture myself, hitting it down there 375 or something. It's just an experience that you have to see in person. There's a different sound to the ball when it leaves the club face, like nothing you have ever heard. And like you say, just to see the excitement of the competitors, like get down, it's just like you say, with all the noise going on.
Oh yeah. It's so exciting. And it's, everybody loves that long drive pro, the baseball players love going to Topgolf and smashing the ball. But then you take a group of guys and gals who do it professionally and they've really just, shine that skill to the highest possible it can go.
Exactly.
And I mean, the guys are hitting almost 500 yards sometimes. It's just unbelievable.
It's incredible what a human being can do to a golf ball, with the golf club. But that's why it is so great. Anyway, I just want to show this one more time, this belt, which is absolutely awesome. You know what? I like it so much. I'm going to start practicing and seeing if I could get one on the mat. Now, are you going to be able to defend?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. That's the goal anyways.
You heard it here first, folks. We hope you do. We have all the confidence in the world. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely a joy having you, and we'd like to have you back sooner than later.
Absolutely.
So I do want to get you out on the golf course.
All right.
Because I don't play with too many people, men or women, say, no, I got to wait. They're still on the green. And, it's 365, short par 4.
Well, I'll even hit from the same tees as you.
Oh.
If you want.
Yeah. Yeah, I want. But anyway, thanks again. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this edition of the 19th Hole Podcast for Golfers. I have been your host, Dennis Silvers, along with Kanani Lodge, and hope you enjoyed the show. Catch us on social media. Give us a like. Subscribe to the page if you can. We all appreciate it. And we will see you back same place, same time next week. So long, everybody.